Welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you are enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps joy travel. Good morning. Welcome. 1,000 welcomes to all. And we are meditating on the subject STEADFAST JOY. And this is a new series energizing that realization directly within ourselves of steadfast joy. So if you joined midstream, from the outset we were meditating on one of Swami NItyananda's beloved teachings, one of his favorite teachings. When you put your hands to the plowshare, don't let go. When you put your hands to the plowshare, don't look back. When you put your hands to the plow, hold on. And so when we are in this energy of steadfast joy, we have steadiness, we have balance, we have peace, we have poise within ourselves. We have this inner strength. And from that connectedness with inner strength, naturally there is a lightness of being. Naturally there is a joy that arises. It is a little like the Buddha in the story that Kashi told. We will not be moved. We will not budge from that energy of steadfastness. And from that, the joy of being our true selves, the joy of being generosity and caring and sharing and wisdom and kindness and pure divine infinite love, naturally transforms us and then radiates out through us, and the transformation becomes visible in time and space as well. So we're sharing teachings, we're sharing scriptures, we're sharing invitations, and basically sharing delight, sharing joy as we connect with this energy and this realization of steadfast joy. One of the things that Swami NItyananda shared was one who shares is truly rich, because one who shares has so much to share. And so there's a couple of stories that I would love to revel in with you. One comes from Adi Shankar. So Adi Shankar helped to codify the teachings of non-dual awareness in the yogic tradition. And this is a story from when he was just a child. So as a child, he studied with his teacher, and his teacher actually sent him out to get food and said, okay, so you get to knock on people's doors and you get to eat whatever it is that people share. And so he knocked on a door, and a woman came to the door, opened the door, and he said, do you have anything to share with me? And his energy of devotion, his energy of joy, his energy of light was so overflowing that her heart instantly responded, and she was like, oh, I want nothing more than to share with this being of light who is inviting me to share. And so she went into her kitchen, she checked her kitchen. She had not even a single grain of rice. But she wanted so much to share that she asked. She said, Divine Grace, let it be that there is something that I may share with this amazing being of light who is asking me to share. And so she checked again and again. She had not even a single grain of rice in her kitchen. And so she was going to the door to open the door and to say, I'm sorry, I don't have anything to share with you. And a single dried gooseberry rolled out from behind the door. And she picked up the dried gooseberry. And she was so grateful to have this single dried gooseberry to be able to share with Adi Shankar, this being of light. She placed the dried gooseberry in his bowl. And what he saw was not the single dried gooseberry. He saw the energy of generosity. He saw the absolute devotion. He saw the overflowing love, the absolute overflowing light that was sharing through this woman. He saw that she was rich because she was sharing this single dried gooseberry. And so Adi Shankar burst into song. He burst into praise of the divine. And he was singing in praise of abundance. He was singing in praise of that divine abundance, which is instantly, always, everywhere present, responsive, and available. In the yogic tradition, one of the names that it goes by is Lakshmi. And so he sang a hymn of praise to Lakshmi. And he asked that this beautiful woman who had given her single dried gooseberry to him would be blessed with abundance. And the story says that Adi Shankar was so pure of heart that a shower of golden gooseberries rained down upon the woman instantly, as soon as he asked. And so, the single line from Swami Shankarananda, one who shares is truly rich. One who shares is truly rich because they have so much to share. And you can feel, like that's why the tears were pouring down my face as I was telling that story. What is being shared is not really the gooseberry. What is being shared is really devotion. It's really just an absolute outpouring of love. It's really just an overflowing of light. And it is light calling to light. And is so, of course, as soon as light calls, light responds instantly. And so each of us is part of that instant, effortless, joyful, spontaneous, overflowing love, calling of light to light through time and space. And so the teachings that I'm sharing, they come from infinite light, sharing through Swami Shankarananda. They come from infinite light sharing through Adi Shankar. They also come from the teachings of many different traditions. And so Psalm 1, interestingly enough, is actually sharing this same realization. And so I'll just read this and invite us to reflect and to feel this energy of overflowing abundance and light within ourselves. Psalm 1. Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on this law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. And so it's that energy of purity. When we have that energy of purity, we are a tree planted by streams of water. And so each of us is always a tree planted by streams of water. And what happens when we meditate day and night on that truth, on that reality, that realization is able to share through us. And so what this says is, we are like a tree planted by streams of water. We will yield fruit in season. And what this means is we are able to love ourselves through all the seasons of our lives. We are able to love ourselves and love the divine, no matter what season it is that we are experiencing now, knowing that we are that tree planted by streams of water, opening to allow ourselves to be nourished by those streams of water, so that in time, in the fullness of time, naturally and effortlessly, as we live the fruits of light, the fruits of life, the fruits of the tree will share through us spontaneously, effortlessly, beautifully, naturally, generously, gorgeously, in the way that they can share through us. And the divine says that this happens as we delight in this law, as we remember this truth, as we live this realization. How long do we get to live this realization? Go back to the top. Put your hands to the plowshare. Don't let go. Put your hands to the plowshare. Don't look back. Put your hands to the plow. Hold on. For how long? As long as we are in embodiment. All the days of our lives, all the moments of our lives, we are a tree planted by streams of water. And all the days of our lives, every moment of our existence, those streams of water, the streams of light, the streams of life, the streams of that unconditional overflowing light and generosity and gladness, they are sharing through us in every leaf that we experience on our tree of life. That is a gift. It is an incredible blessing. And so when we recognize that we are that tree planted by the stream of life, then all of our experiences, we're able to greet them as gifts. Not just in the long run. In the long run, it's easier to see that everything is a blessing. But in the short run, may I invite myself, may I invite you, if you like, in the midst of daily life, I open my heart to unconditional love through and through. And so I'm inviting us to look back over our last week, look back over your lifetime. Am I willing to open my heart to trust unconditional love every day of my life through all of my experiences? Am I willing to open my heart and trust unconditional love every moment? Am I willing to open my heart and trust the divine through and through every moment? We are also, as we are asking that, asking, am I willing to trust the light that is within me through and through? Am I willing to love the light that is within me through and through? As we are able to trust the divine through and through every moment of our existence, every day of our life, as we are able to trust the light that is within ourselves every moment of our existence through all of our experiences, then we will be able to be open-hearted in relation to other humans and in relation to what happens in time and space. And so each of us is asking, am I willing to open my heart and love unconditionally, no matter what, beyond all limits, in all moments, in all times, in all lands, no matter what things look like on the outside? Am I willing to open my heart and trust the divine? Am I willing to open my heart and share light, sharing what is highest, sharing what is best? So I probably won't be able to tell these next stories either without crying, but I will do my best. They're tears of love and gratitude. So I shared the story about Adi Shankar and the way that the spirit of abundance is always with us, and it responds instantly when we ask with a pure heart. The pure heart is our true nature. So if we are willing to practice meditation day and night, as Psalm 1 recommends, then what happens is we come into contact with our true nature. There's a natural, effortless process of self-purification that occurs. And then we're always directly feeling the way that the streams of life are there, nourishing and supporting us and flowing through us. And so this teaching, this is from Matthew 14, and the teaching is known as Jesus feeds the 5,000. And one of the things that just makes me almost cry is that this story comes immediately after Jesus hears that John the Baptist has been beheaded. Immediately thereafter, this is what happens. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. He's retreating into prayer and meditation. So I'm just pointing that out. He's putting into practice what the Psalm says. He has experienced pain and loss and grief and a shock in time and space. And his response is to be in contact with that stream of life that is flowing always, even in the midst of the most painful and challenging and difficult human experiences. And so he goes into this quiet to be in contact with that reality, that realization. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. So I'm just going to pause for a moment and notice compassion is the energy of healing. So as each of us opens to the energy of compassion, wholeness is with us. So you could almost say, I open my heart to the energy of compassion, and wholeness is upon me. Wholeness is within me. Wholeness shares through me as I open my heart to the energy of compassion. So this is what each of us is continually invited to do. Sometimes it's effortless, natural, and spontaneous, and sometimes we're saying, my friend just got beheaded, and I'm still going to open my heart in time and space. I'm still going to share absolute joy and the sweetness of divine, radiant generosity and giving, no matter what. When I'm by myself, I will share that sweetness of divine radiance and generosity and giving. If there are a lot of people around me, I will open my heart and I will share that energy of divine radiance and joy and generosity and peace. That peace that passes understanding is with us always, no matter what it is that is occurring. As evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." "We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them here to me," he said. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000, besides women and children. And so again, this energy of thanksgiving, this energy of sharing, is what produces the multiplication of abundance. The spirit of abundance responds instantly. So again, we could say, I open my heart to unconditional love, and as I do, the spirit of abundance is upon me. The spirit of abundance is within me. The spirit of abundance shares through me, as it is natural and effortless for that divine radiance to share through me. And it shares through each of us. It shares through all of existence because we are the spirit of abundance. And so as we share, we are rich. And that multiplication arises. And you can sort of see in all of these stories, it's completely innocent. The only intention is to share. There's absolutely no self-consciousness. There's no separate individual self-awareness. There is only awareness of the divine radiance, of the interconnectedness of all of existence, and the way that each of us is part of that wholeness, part of that divine overflowing, outpouring of radiant love and light. Notice what Jesus does immediately after. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone. And so each of us is continually in these teachings being reminded of the importance of steadfastness on the spiritual path. And so that's back to, I put my hands to the plowshare and I don't let go. I put my hands to the plowshare and I don't look back. So being absolutely dedicated and steady in our spiritual practice. And you can sort of see in these stories about Jesus, there's an interplay. There's a disaster and he prays. Then there's a miracle and then he prays. And then there's another miracle and then he prays. And so each of us we're sort of like doing this 2-step dance, connecting with that stillness, that energy of absolute radiance and kindness and abundance within ourselves, allowing that to share forth through us, and then giving thanks and praise. And the walk, that's the walk of life. That's the waters of life sharing through us. And it's with us always. There is not a single moment that it is not with us. So I have one contemporary story to share. And this is a story about a woman who moved across the country, and she had a new job at this place where she was living across the country, and she had a obviously new place where she was living across the country, and then a couple of things happened in immediate succession. So she lost her job, and then her roommate with whom she was sharing this house that she actually really liked, her roommate was like, I need to move. And so she was like, what do I do? Am I making a mistake? I'm here, I'm in this new place, and I just lost my work, and my roommate is telling me that my roommate needs to go. She had a few dollars, and so she went to the store, and this was sort of one of those grocery store trips where she was like, I can get milk, I can get eggs. She's like, milk and eggs for this grocery store trip. And she started walking through the store, and she noticed that sweet potatoes were on sale, so she was like, and some sweet potatoes today. And she was praying. So as she went, she was praying, and she was asking the divine, I need a sign. Like, am I in the wrong place? Do you need me to move? Did I make a mistake being here? Is something wrong? I need a sign. I really need a sign. So she's walking up to the checkout counter. She puts her milk and her eggs and her sweet potatoes on the checkout counter, and she's standing there in line. And there are a few tears involved in this particular grocery store trip. The woman standing in line in front of her turns around and says, I need to buy your groceries for you. It wouldn't matter if you were a millionaire and I was on food stamps. I have to buy your groceries for you because the divine told me that you need a sign. And the divine told me that you will know when it's your turn to pass on a sign. And so she said, she accepted that gift. She took the sweet potatoes home. She said they were the sweetest sweet potatoes she had ever eaten. And shortly thereafter, she found a wonderful employment. She found a wonderful roommate. Her life unfolded, and there was a time later that she was in line at the grocery store, and there was a man and his son in line behind her, and she turned around. She said, I need to buy your groceries. And the man and his son said, thank you. And so each of us is part of this energy of sharing. And each of us is part of this give and this take. So sometimes we are invited to open our hearts to be able to receive. And sometimes we are invited to open our hearts to be able to allow that energy of abundance, that energy of the absolute wealth that is sharing here. I think you can feel it. It's actually the energy of pure, divine, infinite love. And pure, divine, infinite love takes the form of all of this. Pure, divine, infinite love takes the form of you. Pure, divine, infinite love is definitely the sweet potatoes. So pure, divine, infinite love is simply itself calling to itself through time and space. And we are part of that call. We are part of that response. And so each of us is invited to be incredibly steady, incredibly steadfast in allowing ourselves to be in that energy of reality, that energy of realizing and remembering, that energy of not saying with our lips, but living with our lives. I put my hands to the plowshare and I don't let go. I put my hands to the plowshare and I don't look back. I put my plans to the plow. Hold on. And as we do that, as we open our heart and allow infinite love, pure infinite love to share through us, nothing about our lives or our experience or our world remains the same. And thank you because you are doing that. Thank you because you are being that. Thank God, and God bless us all.